Heyo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Mo, and today we're gonna talk about the three kings of photography. Let's go! Alright, so when we first got our cameras, we always had trouble trying to figure out what we need to do, which settings to put on and everything. It's always hard to learn it at first. I went to school for it, so I kind of learned it in school a little bit, but you don't really have to go to school for it. I kind of wasted some time there, but...
Stay in school, kids.
Don't listen to him. So, the three kings of photography are aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. And I'm gonna quickly talk about all of these so you know what to do with your camera when you take pictures. So the aperture are little tiny kind of blades, and they're in your lens. So the smaller the hole, the less light comes in, and the larger the hole, more light comes in. Pretty simple. So what this does for your photography is that it mostly just kind of corresponds with your depth of field. So depth of field is basically where the subject, let's just say it's me, is in focus and everything behind me is blurry, or vice versa. I could be blurry and everything like in the background could be in focus. So the smaller the aperture, so for example
Sorry. Man, we're busy. So unprofessional, Ratana. God, who turns their phone on blast?
The smaller the aperture, for example f16, that will make everything in your image in focus. And that's usually good for if you want to do like landscape shots. So like let's say if you want to go to the Grand Canyon and you want everything in focus, you would choose something like f16. So large aperture gives you a shallow depth of field, meaning I will be in focus and everything in the background would be blurry, like this photo. So now we're going to move on to shutter speed. The longer you have your shutter speed open, the more light you let in, and vice versa. So one example is if you want to go to like a baseball game and you want to get the ball hitting the bat and just stopping the motion and not have any blur on it, then you would make your shutter speed about like 1/400. So like a shot like this. So if you have a slower shutter speed, and Ratana's term is slow for flow, basically if you have like a waterfall, or if you have clouds moving, or if you want those streaks of lights when cars are moving, then you would have a slow shutter speed, which is usually 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or even you can go as high as about like 1/25. And that will definitely get you like these smooth, nice flowing looking lights and clouds and water and stuff like that. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is the ISO. You don't have to worry about what it means, but basically you'll have a better quality picture if your ISO is low. On most DSLR cameras, the ISO is usually set at 100. It can go up to about like 160,000, even higher or something like that. But the higher you make your ISO, the more grain is going to be in your picture. And sometimes that can be good as like an artistic way, but for me personally, I like to keep it low. And on my camera, if I go above 800 ISO, that's when it starts becoming grainy. So I usually keep it below, about 800 or below. And the only reason you would use ISO is if your image is too dark. Even if you've adjusted the aperture and the shutter speed, then you just raise up the ISO. Don't get discouraged if your shots are always grainy, because you're learning, and it is definitely a learning process. And personally, what I've learned from one of my good friends, Uncle Joey, shout out, is if you have a grainy shot, just make it black and white, really. And then even in post, you can adjust the composition, but it's always good to have a good composition and just keep it looking nice and beautiful and fantastic, like me. So that's it. That's the three kings of photography, and it's really all you need to know if you want to be a basic photographer. But definitely learn more by yourself. You can check out other videos and stuff like that, but these three aspects are really what photography is about. It'll get you the best pictures, best quality, best style, and of course your eye does most of the work. You do most of the work, not your camera. So get out there and take pictures. So this is Mo, and I'm with 4i Focus, and this was your FEF Tip Tuesday. Please like, share, subscribe, and write a comment down below and just tell us what you want to learn about, you know? That's why we're here. We love you. And I hope you love us. Alright, focus!